Hello and welcome to the Secret Wealth Project. I'm Matt. Hope you're doing all right. So this is copywriting for beginners, the art of selling one-to-many via the written word by me, Matt Webley. So part two, this is how copywriting works and the psychological triggers that must be activated and basic structure of copy. So remember, this is a beginner's focused course, but if you've never done copywriting before, then this is an amazing place to immerse yourself into the new world to you of copywriting. It's a great skill to learn, a skill well worth anybody developing. If you learn how to sell one-to-many, you will never go hungry for sure. You'll make a lot of money potentially even. So let's get started. So you will not find this stuff in any beginner's copywriting course. I don't specifically mean this module. I mean pretty much all of it, especially not any free copywriting course. I don't know of any good free copywriting courses, but regardless, you won't find this stuff discussed usually in any beginners kind of resources. So hopefully you'll get a lot of value from this. The aim of good copywriting is to persuade, and that's usually one-to-many. So you're not one-on-one selling, you're multi-person selling. Get this stuff right and master it, and you will get rich. Earnings disclaimer, I cannot promise you a penny, so I won't tell you you'll get rich. But seriously, if you master this stuff and implement it, there's nothing stopping you from getting rich or making as much money as your heart desires. I truly believe that. Selling is a skill that everybody should develop that's in business, and selling one-to-many just amplifies that skill. And that's what we're aiming to do in this course, or at least expose you to the beginner stuff. Right, so imagine your perfectly crafted message in front of 100 people and 10 of them buy, right? Create a message once, put it in front of 100 people, and because it's a really good message, 10 of them buy, right? Now, you could do the same thing and put it in front of 1 million people. What happens? The same ratios usually apply, and you make a lot of money because you can scale this. Copywriting equals scale. So if you can copyright, you can leverage who you are 1 million times over. You can pretend you're a salesperson in somebody's living room, and you're not even there. So, but you can do that 1 million times all at the same time, or 10 million times, or 100 million times. Lots of people can be watching your message or reading your message at the same time. That's why this is ultra, 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 ultra powerful. So let me talk to you briefly about Robert Cialdini. I think that's how you say it. Or Cialdini, I don't know how you say it, but he brought out a book. It's Principles of Persuasion or something like that. Influence, the Power of Persuasion. Can't remember the exact title, but if you're interested, take a look at that book because it's really, really, really cool. But he goes into a few laws or rules of persuasion, ways of how to influence people. And I'm just going to briefly touch upon some of these rules now. And then if you want to learn more, you can go get his book or go find a course that goes into this in more depth. But basically, there's certain rules that persuade people. So consistency is the first one I'm going to talk about. Desire to be consistent with previous behavior and statements. So if you get somebody to say something, yeah, I'll be there, Matt, or I'll do this or I'll do that. They typically want to be consistent with their previous behavior and statements. So get them to say something like that and they'll usually come through on that. So you can use this in your selling process. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth into any of these. And I'm not saying these are Robert's way of talking about these. These are just brief overviews of each thing, just so you can kind of understand that there's actually psychological triggers out there that you can go tick, 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 tick. And I've applied this stuff to email campaigns before and blown away conversion ratios like you've never seen in your life, and done amazing things. So this stuff works. Consensus, so follow the lead or social proof. So if for example, lots of people are saying this is a great product, well then you are going, oh, that's what everybody else thinks, so I will do it too. So some people call it social proof, consensus, law of consensus, whatever you want to call it. But basically, what you call it and the theory behind it doesn't matter. What actually matters is that it works. So, you know, if 10 people think something's cool and no one thinks it's rubbish, then what you're going to do, you're probably going to think it's cool. Unless you're one of these contrarian types, then you might think it's rubbish even if it is cool. But basically, social proof, that's what it is. Scarcity, so rare things are more valuable and desirable. If something's common and easy to get and everywhere, you don't put any value on it. If something's hard to get, very rare and scarce, it's more desirable and valuable. You might say, what's this got to do with copywriting? these are all psychological triggers. These are all things that help persuade other human beings to do stuff. So if you're selling stuff and you inject some scarcity in there, then that's going to increase your conversion ratios. If you have social proof on there or testimonials, that's going to increase your conversion ratios. All of these things tick little boxes and help persuade. So what we do later in the course, when we're actually properly structuring our content, is we'll look to tick some of these boxes with the formula we follow for writing our copy. So just the very formula that I'm going to lay out later in this course will actually do all of these things and tick these boxes. As long as you follow the formula, you will tick these boxes. But I want to give you the solid background kind of understanding, or the overview understanding of it, so you don't just think there's some magic in the formula, you actually start understanding why it's working. So that's why I'm going into these things. Reciprocity. So this is given you shall receive. So a good example of reciprocity is when you give somebody a sample of something for free. Maybe you sell those little pretzel things or little donuts or something, and you stand there with your metal tray, and as people walk by, would you like one? And then they try it and they go, oh, this is lovely. Well, part of it is obviously just a trial and a tester and stuff, but part of it is the activating that given you shall receive, the law of reciprocity. When somebody gives you true value, you are much more likely to want to return the favor and give them true value back. So samples is just one example of that. Authority. Follow the expert and establish your credibility earlier. So authority, you're much more likely to follow somebody that you consider to be an expert on something, aren't you? If you was learning deep sea diving or climbing Mount Everest, you was doing something crazy that was potentially going to put your life at risk, and it was like, I don't know, high risk, high reward type stuff, and you've got two people you could learn from. One's your next door neighbour's uncle, who once paddled down the river in a lilo, and then the other one is an expert diver, an expert climber, and he's like the ultimate adventurer. Who are you going to learn from? Do you want to learn from the expert who's got authority, or do you want to learn from your next door neighbour's uncle that paddled a lilo once down the river? Realistically, you're going to go for the expert unless you're a maniac. So if you're trying to persuade somebody, by establishing your credibility early on in the sales process, selling yourself somewhat, it helps to persuade them, because they're going to believe an authority on the subject a lot more than they're going to believe somebody that's not. So if you want a perfect example of injecting this into your sales process, you would establish your credibility early. So you wouldn't just sell, and then never tell them why they should listen to you. One of the first things you would do, you would say, and this is why you should listen to me, but maybe you wouldn't use them exact words, but you would tell them, this is why you should listen to me in roundabout way. That's basically what you would do. Similarity. People buy from people who they feel similar to. So if you're a working class white male from the UK in your 40s, you're probably more likely to buy from somebody that fits that exact kind of demographic and background and stuff, than if you was, talking to somebody that doesn't speak your language, has never been to the country you live in, maybe they're really older than you or really a lot younger than you, maybe your hobbies are football and their hobbies are reading. Who are you more likely to buy from? You're going to buy from somebody that you feel a connection with, that understands you and is like you, that's somebody that's similar to you. Or are you going to buy from the person that has never been to your country, barely speaks your language, doesn't have any hobbies or interests similar to yours? It's that kind of similarity. So again, it's not the be all and end all. This is probably one of the lesser important things in the selling process, but it's definitely something. So I mention it here. And if you want more information on this stuff, read Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. It's a good book. Right, so we'll cover one of these in detail, similarity. So this is my take on it, not so much Cialdini's, whatever you say. Read his book for more. Tell me what you want more detail on and how it applies to internet marketing in the comments, okay? So if you want me to give you direct how this applies specifically to something in internet marketing, let me know in the comments and I'll tell you. But sell yourself, then sell your product or service. So in the example I just talked about, you don't have to be similar to your prospect, but you have to show your prospect that you have a similar mindset. So you're able to think how they think and feel how they feel. So you don't have to look the same, be the same, and all that stuff. Not at all. I wasn't saying that in my previous example. You just have to be able to connect with the reader or connect with your prospect, not have them think, oh, I'm this and they're, it's chalk and cheese with totally different people. You want to make them feel like there are some similarities there. Okay, so the sell yourself, then sell the product or service is like an old adage in the selling game. But you need to be in a state of rapport to get maximum conversions. So they've got to kind of feel that know, like, and trust stuff, which I'm going to touch on in a minute. If they do not like you, then even if they want to buy the product already, you could stop the sale. There's been times when I've gone into, say, a car dealership. I want to buy that car right there. And then the salesperson's come over, give it all this big I am, all this hard sell and all this stuff. And I've literally upped and left and gone elsewhere and bought it from somewhere else. The salesperson got in the way of the sale. I wanted the product. I was ready to buy the product. And the salesman was just so bad, put me off and I went elsewhere. That's happened a few times to me with cars, actually. So pre-offer value. In the internet age, pre-offer value is important. So basically, setting the sale up before you ask for it is the key. So people talk about this know, like, and trust. I don't know who first mentioned know, like, and trust, but you've got to let your audience get to know you. They've got to like you, and they've got to trust you. Those three things are magic when it comes to sales. If they know, like, and trust you, and I'm not saying pull the wool over anyone's eyes. No. No, genuine like, and genuine trust. Now, there's great ways to do that, one of which is video. Video is a great way to create know, like, and trust, but not everybody wants to do video. But a Facebook group would be another way. If you're a leader of a Facebook group, a leader of a community, people will get to know you. And hopefully, if you're not an horrible person, they'll get to like you. And then over time, if you give them lots of value, they'll get to trust you. So it's never, ever, ever taking. It's always giving first. We've gone past the days whereby you can kind of, I don't know, scam a quick buck or two. You've got to do this proper. If you want a long-term business, do it properly. And building that know, like, and trust, that rapport, building that pre-offer value will set you up for great conversions in the future. So in the social media generation, leverage it. Leverage the social media. Free high-quality content creation is the best way to achieve this goal. Again, Facebook groups are an amazing way to do it. You can put good content out. It doesn't have to be your own Facebook group, but I would highly recommend it if you know what you're doing. But put high-quality content out there into the interweb, on YouTube or whatever, and that's the best way to do this. Add value to your prospect's life before you ever sell them anything. Add value. It's like putting money in a safe. You've got to put a load of money in the safe first before you can take it out. You've got to invest in your audience before you ever ask them for anything. That's nowadays. Now, you don't have to, but that's the best way to do it. YouTube, Facebook groups, blogs, and websites are a great way to do this. So YouTube, if you don't mind video, Facebook groups, if you don't mind video and or don't like video, blogs and websites, again, same again. You can do video with them, but you don't have to do video with them. It's a lot more text-based because you get rankings in Google and stuff. So these are great kind of ways. Leverage social media, leverage the internet, put good content out there, and you'll build that state of rapport. You'll get that know, like, and trust. And then everything you do after that becomes easier, okay? What if you cannot produce content and the power of the initial word is all you have? So what if you can't create any social media? You're not interested in doing videos. You're not interested in putting free content out there. Are you saying, Matt, that copywriting doesn't work? No, of course it works. I'm just telling you a good strategy for doing it now in the internet age. Put good content out there and you start to build a following, but start to build an audience. You can monetize that following audience with your sales letters, and then they don't have to be as well crafted. You don't have to be as expert in them, and you can still make a ton of sales even without it being the perfect sales process. But what if you can't do all that stuff? That's okay. All the founding fathers of copywriting, they all just use the written word. But it does make it a little bit harder nowadays because people are skeptical. They're bombarded with sales messages and products and services offers all the time. So ultimately, if there's two people, one's got a sales letter and one has built a load of free content and built a relationship with you, like, and trust them, and both are selling the same product, who are you likely to buy from? All else being equal, the one like, and trust. Now, you can get around it if you've got a great copy, and ultimately great copy takes you a long way. But you'll find it a lot easier if you build that relationship first and add value first. But let's assume you can't. Let's just go the copywriting route. So your copy needs to build the rapport that the free content would normally. So in this world, in this age now, in the internet age and stuff, the free content can build the rapport. Your sales process doesn't need to. But if you've not got that bit first, your copy needs to build the rapport. So your prospect will rarely ever buy from logical reasoning. They buy from emotional feeling and then back it up with logical reasoning. Let me explain. So you might say, this product has X, Y, Z features, and that's it. These are the features, okay? And then somebody else will try and sell the same product and go, this product makes you sexier because of this feature. This product makes you sleep better, makes you stronger because of these reasons. But going one step further than that, how are you going to feel when your rippling muscles, the sun glints off your rippling muscles, and that girl you've always had your eye on finally notices you? When she looked past you, looked through you like you was invisible before, now she glances at you and she noticed you for the first time. It's all of a sudden starting to have feeling, have emotion. It's like, wow, like she's noticing me, like, now all of a sudden it takes words from being features, whey protein powder, 30-gram serving, chocolate flavor, to, and I'm not saying you sell whey protein like this. I'm always terrible with examples, so I shouldn't even think of them on the fly. I should actually think about them before I do the videos. But basically, if you inject emotion, if you inject all that stuff, make them feel something when they read your copy, they're much more likely to have a connection with it. And then they use the logic to back it up. Well, yeah, I want to buy this one because it's the sexiest product, really, even though they don't admit that. But then the logic kicks in and they go, because it's the biggest serving and it's a really good price and I can get next day shipping. So the logic kicks in to back up their emotional purchase. So most purchases are made from an emotional standpoint. If you can put them into a state of feeling and mirror their feelings within your copy, they will feel rapport and more likely to convert. So I tell you this because if you can inject emotion into your copy, then what would build the know, like, and trust and the rapport and all that stuff with the free content in the social media generation we live in? If you're not doing that, then the emotion can kind of convey all those qualities and kind of build that rapport for you. Again, some of this might sound a bit woo-woo. If it does, my apologies. I'm trying to give you kind of a basic overview and dip into little bits that I think will be useful for you. But definitely people buy with emotion rather than logic most of the time. If they feel that you understand them and you like them, they will buy from you, okay? So if you can make them think, oh, that's how I felt, then they're much more likely to buy you, which leads me on to the feel, felt, and found technique, okay? So I don't know who or when I learned this. It was years and years and years and years ago. This is not Google stuff, guys. This is like experience. This is learning. This is learning from decades ago, literally. Learning from books, learning from blog posts, learning from in the trenches stuff. All kinds of stuff goes into what goes in my head. So I don't remember exactly where I found it, and I've not Googled it or anything. But I learned this thing called the feel, felt, and found technique, okay? It might have been from my days of MLM. I'm not sure. But basically what you do is you go, I know how you feel about the problem because I felt the same. But I found that, and this is a kind of a good way to kind of overcome objections but it's kind of feelings based and emotion based, and I'm trying to get you to start thinking like a human being in your copy, and not like it's a paint by numbers robot thing whereby you just length 29 centimeters, dimensions, all that stuff. The features don't matter so much. The emotion and the humanity and the connection and the rapport and that stuff matters. Okay. So think relationships, think emotion, think feelings, rather than thinking 25% off. There's a space for all that stuff. There's a space for all that kind of direct ABC stuff. But this stuff is just taking it to that next kind of level. So it's just that little bit beyond kind of your standard kind of whatever. So mirroring how they felt during a painful time prior to you finding the solution to the problem they're looking for will trigger an emotional connection. So I'll read that again. Mirroring how they felt, so how your prospect felt during a painful time prior to you finding the solution to the problem they are looking for will trigger an emotional connection. So they've got a problem, they're looking for a product to solve the problem. You come along and you say, you put them in the same emotional state as you felt when you was kind of going through that same problem that had you find that product. Now, this won't apply to everything. If you're selling some random ECOM product, this might not apply to you. But if you're selling a lot of stuff, it does. So they're looking to solve a problem, and most products or services are there to solve a problem, or a lot of them are. But you're looking to solve a problem, and if you can let them know you felt the same before, so you mirror them, you felt the same as they did before you found the solution, they're much more likely to feel an emotional connection and want to move the direction that you propose to them, which is purchasing your product. Okay, so there's a lot more to it than that, but that's a basic technique you can use to get started to build rapport and an emotional connection within your prospect, within your copy or your sales video. Right, so rule, if you are like your prospect, they will buy from you. Okay, so it's not hard and fast, but usually if you like your prospect, if you are like your prospect, they will buy more from you. So we're still talking about similarity here. So conversely, if you're not like your potential customer, you will have to work harder to connect with them. Luckily in text, you can be who you want to be. So an example, if you're trying to sell private jets, your copy will have to carry itself differently to if you're trying to sell 18 to 30 drunken vacations to teenagers. So you imagine you're selling to some billionaire a private jet. Your copy's going to feel different. It's going to sound different. The emotional connection you're going to make is going to be different. To if you're trying to sell a holiday or vacation to some 19-year-old drunk kid that just wants to go and get blasted. Your text is going to be very different. Your sales process is going to be very different. But if you can adopt a style that is similar to your prospect, how they would talk, more likely to make the sale. So imagine if you're trying to sell the holiday to the 18-year-old and you start going, "Hi, I hope you are having a lovely day. The weather is great." And in fact, the weather is great might work for him, but I don't know. Bad example. Don't do examples, man. But you hopefully get my point. Find common ground. Okay, find common ground. If you're trying to sell to, I don't know, weed heads, these people that smoke cannabis, and I'm not saying drugs if it's illegal in your place, but if you're trying to sell to them, you're going to use different language to if you're trying to sell to a 65-year-old upper class lady from London or New York or something. Find common ground within your copy. So this is cool, but some of the other principles are way more powerful. Scarcity being a major player, okay? So there's other principles. So that was similarity and just how it kind of affects your copy somewhat, and talking about emotional connection and stuff. But scarcity and urgency, for example, are absolutely huge and arguably much more able to amplify the sales message and your results from it. Because you get fear of missing out. So people, when it comes to scarcity, what I mean by scarcity and urgency is like these, you'll go on a site or a store and it'll be like, we've got 10 left, or 7 left or 3 left. And if it's going down, it makes you go, oh no, I don't want to miss out. So you're much more likely to buy it. So inject that stuff into the selling process and you'll be able to accelerate stuff more. Fear of loss. So it's the fear of loss. It's the fear of, oh, if I don't buy it now, I'll never be able to buy it. Only 5 left. Good example. And this price until midnight, the price goes up after. So that's the kind of fear of loss. So another one of the 6 principles of persuasion that Robert talks about, social proof. Social proof is huge. How many times have you bought something because somebody you did not know in a review or comment online told you it was great? So you didn't even know them, but you Google it, you Google reviews, and you read some random person, that could be anyone, and they say, this product is amazing, it's changed my life, blah, 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 blah. And then you go buy it because some random person you didn't know on the internet said it was good. We look for safety. It's hardwired psychologically into us as humans. We look for safety and kind of following what other people are doing. So, in the dating game, if lots of females are attracted to a certain male, it turns out that more females end up attracted to that same male because the other females are attracted to him. It's almost like it's kind of, I don't know if it's herd mentality, but it's social proof. When we see other people doing stuff and thinking stuff, we're much more likely to kind of think and do that same stuff. So, social proof is important. And this thing where you read stuff online from other people, you probably do that more than you'd like to admit. Some people will be watching this and going, no, I don't do that. I do solid research. Well, yeah, you do. But part of that research is reading random people on the internet you don't know, you don't trust, you don't know anything about them, and taking their word as gospel. That's social proof at play. So we'll talk more about the principles during this course, but let's give you some structure, some hard and fast stuff to get stuck into. Here's enough theory, time to start writing. So the different formulas and structures you can follow to write great copy. And I would advise a formula is the best way to start, to literally understand the formula, to just follow the formula. It ticks all the boxes, and we're going to cover some of them. So here's one of the most battle-tested and oldest basic copy structures that will work forevermore. It still works today. It worked 10 years ago. It worked 20 years ago. It worked 30 years ago. It still works today. It will still work 30 years from now. It's not the most up-to-date or inspired formula, but it's definitely a formula that works and works really, really, really well. So this is a side note for lower value ecom guys. So people selling cheap stuff. If you're selling simple ecom products or fashion products and things like that, you'll probably not need this level of copy to sell a random Shopify dropship product from AliExpress or a t-shirt or whatever. So when we're talking lots of copy, you don't want to create a long form sales letter to sell a silicone spatula. You don't need to. An image and some basic bits and bobs will probably carry you a long way. Low value items especially. The more expensive or the more complicated the product, the more you have to sell it. Okay, that's basically the rough rule. So the more expensive and the more non-impulsive the product is, the more you will need to learn this stuff. If you're selling $1,000 courses, $2,000 courses, or $10,000 high value coaching classes, or whatever it is, that's where copy really comes into its own, because you've got to put over the value. It's not an impulsive thing when you're asking somebody to spend maybe $500 or $1,000 or $20,000. It's not impulsive. It's very expensive. So you have to put more into your selling process. The more technical and involved the purchase, the more you will need to do this stuff also. Visual products like fashion, you will not need this level of copy. For example, I wouldn't expect you to write a 18-page sales letter to sell a lady's t-shirt. You just don't need to. It's a t-shirt. The features, a little blurb will be more than enough 99.9% of the time. So here's a basic structure for you, okay? So this is old as time itself, and it's called the problem, agitate, solution thing, okay? This is battle tested. It works very, very well. Your prospect has a problem they want to solve. If they didn't, they would not be searching for your product. They would not have a problem to solve. They wouldn't find you, okay? So you need to amplify that problem by agitating it. So you've got problem. So here's their problem. Oh, my toe hurts. So you've got to agitate the problem, make it feel worse for them. And then your solution is the thing you sell to them. That's copy basics, copywriting 101, basic level formula. Problem, agitate, solution. Right, I'm going to give you an example of it. Then you need to offer a solution to that problem, which is your product. So here's an example. Problem, you can't sleep at night because your mind is always racing with ideas, thoughts, worries. If you're an entrepreneur, you'll probably feel like this is the case for you. You kind of lay there and you start feeling guilty if you're not working and you know, if you're not getting the success you want, and then you're thinking about this, you're thinking about this idea and that idea, I want to do this, I want to do that. Your mind's racing, you can't sleep. That's the problem, okay? Entrepreneur can't sleep. So you agitate it. So, and it's really becoming a problem now. You're unable to sleep. It's waking you through the night and you're feeling grumpy at work and arguing with your spouse in the day. And you know it's not their fault. You're just so stressed and tired, see? So I just took this problem that you've got of, I can't sleep at night because I'm just, my mind's like just running overboard. That might be all the prospects thinking. They just can't sleep. They're looking for something to sleep. But then you kind of agitate the problem by saying, you know, you're unable to sleep. It's waking you through the night and you're feeling grumpy at work. And then you're arguing with your spouse. It's causing arguments. And you know it's not their fault, so you're just stressed and tired. You know, so all of a sudden you're stressed, you're tired, you're grumpy. It's affecting your spouse. It's affecting your work life. And that was all just in a sentence or two, you know. So power tip, agitate some more. Turn up the heat, find the problems from their problems. So this is a power tip, really. Beyond the scope of this kind of basic course, but this is what you'll do when you're starting to write it. So you won't stop there saying that they're grumpy and they're arguing with the spouse and, you know, they're stressed and tired. You'll find problems from their problems. So all of a sudden, so take the grumpy at work comment where, you know, they're going, yeah, it's affecting my work life somewhat. And that's not the best example just there on the screen, but what you'll do is you'll find a problem from your problem. So you'll go, you're feeling grumpy at work, and then you'll find a new problem from that problem. So you go, you're feeling grumpy at work and your boss is starting to notice. And your workmates are telling you, you need to book your ideas up or else. And you're worried that it's only going to be a matter of time until that your sleepiness at work is going to affect your job prospects, maybe even get you fired. You know, it's only a matter of time until you're getting a knock on the door, the phone call, the text from your boss saying, I need a word. Do you know what I mean? That's just come out the top of my head, but you're finding a problem from a problem. So don't get bogged down with that. Like I say, it's a power tip, really. It's just agitating the agitation, okay? Right, solution. So you've got problem, can't sleep, agitate, it's making you grumpy, tired, stressed. And here's the solution. Introducing the Sleep in 7 Seconds supplement. Take just 3 of these capsules 10 minutes before bed, and you'll be out like a light. You'll sleep comfortably and deeply and get a good 8 hours sleep. So that's a real basic, very kind of short form sales process, but just an example. It's not a real product. It's just made up. But you've got problem, agitate, solution. So if you want to take it a little bit more advanced, problem, agitate the agitation, solution, okay? Right. So see how this works? That was a super simple example, and there's more to it than this, but it's a great beginner's framework to have in mind when you're creating simple offers, okay? It especially works well with explainer video scripts. So if you're writing a 1.5 minute explainer video, then this is a great framework to use. So you can go from this free copywriting course. It's free, by the way. If you gave me a thumbs up for this free course, it's free. You've not paid a penny for it. I put this on YouTube for free. I'm an 8-figure copywriter. I've been doing this almost 20 years, and you're getting this for free. Give me a thumbs up. That's all I'm asking for. There's nothing to pay, nothing to buy. Just give me a thumbs up for sharing the knowledge, okay? Giving back. Okay, so this especially works well with explainer video scripts even now. So you could get some 12-step magic formula for writing the perfect sales letter, but the good old basics still work. Problem, agitate, solution. Right. Check out the BuyBot Pro explainer video for a great example of this framework in action. Okay, so when we created the BuyBot Pro explainer video, this is the basic formula for creating that video. Problem, agitate, solution. So as much as the copywriting snobs, if there's any out there watching this, will go, that's outdated. Look, it still works lovely, especially on the shorter stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, BuyBot Pro explainer video is about 4 minutes long. It's too long. That's agitating and agitating some more, and it goes very specifically into the problems of that niche market. But you can just condense that down. You can just make it a lot shorter. Problem, agitate, solution. Works like gangbusters. Makes a great explainer video. Right, so next time I'm going to go into the down and dirty details of copywriting that gets prospects to rip out their wallets and purses and insist you take their money. All of it. See? That was written a bit like copy because I can't help myself. Lol. But yeah, so I write like copy sometimes even when I don't mean to. But like, yeah, next time we're going to go into the down and dirty details. If you want to see the next video in this series, I need you to like and comment on this video. Right? I need you to. If I get 75 thumbs ups, and 50 comments, I'll upload the next one. So how fast part 3 comes out is up to you. Hopefully you've watched part 1. If not, go watch part 1. Give it a thumbs up. And this one, leave a thumbs up and a comment. 75 thumbs up and 50 comments. The next one's going up. Okay, and the next one's going to get even juicier than this one. I don't know if you enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comments down below if you did or didn't. Hopefully you got value from it. What did you learn? What did you like? What didn't you like? Got any thoughts on the video? Let me know in the comments down below. Read all your comments. Love them. And yeah, give me that thumbs up. It matters. It makes a big difference to the algorithm and all that stuff. So help me out. Give me some engagement on this bad boy. That's all I'm asking. There's not going to be any cost to this. It's free. Just give me that thumbs up. Right. Until next time. Thanks for watching. I'm Matt. This has been the Secret Wealth Project. Speak soon. Bye.